All right, folks, week 17 is almost in the books. We got the Falcons and the Commanders about to kick off. Falcons need a win to stay in the playoff picture right now and a win next week, and they'll be in. And then a pretty meaningless game on Monday night between the Lions and 49ers. But we'll get to that in a second. So a few things that stuck out to me this week and going back to last Wednesday, Christmas Day, because we had games on Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. So it feels like a month ago, but a few things that stuck out to me this week. Number one, the Vikings get an enormous win today at home versus Green Bay. And this sets up a huge Week 18 matchup in Detroit. The winner will get the 1 seed, and as great a seasons as they've had, the loser will be playing a road playoff game to start the playoffs. So it could be a really big swing for either one of these teams that loses. But today, I thought Sam Darnold was awesome. He had 379 yards, 3 touchdowns. I thought the Vikings defense was awesome until about 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Then it got a little shaky. I was actually texting a friend from Minnesota saying, I think the Vikings are going to go to the Super Bowl. About 2 seconds later, Sam Darnold throws an interception into double coverage. But I thought the Vikings all around were a lot better team today. They missed 2 field goals. They had the bad interception by Darnold. Otherwise, this game might not even been near as close as it was. With 7 minutes left in the game, the Vikings had 418 yards to the Packers 137. I don't know what they were doing the first 3 quarters, but Jordan Love had no time to throw. It seemed like he was under pressure all game long, and Josh Jacobs, who was 3rd in the league in rushing, he really could not get a lot going, and I thought the Vikings were just really good, and I think they're going to go into Detroit next week and beat the Lions and get the 1 seed, and right now I think they're the favorite to win the NFC. Number 2, the Bengals beat the Broncos in overtime in a very fascinating game. T. Higgins was awesome. Joe Burrow was awesome. But the one thing that I'm really disappointed, I feel like we were robbed of one of the most fascinating situations we could have seen in the NFL in a long time. So with 2 minutes and 37 seconds left, the Broncos have the ball first down in overtime. 2 minutes, 37 seconds left in overtime. All they need to do is tie to make the playoffs. And the commentators are acting like as if they get a first down, they're just going to take 3 knees and take a tie. I think it would have set up a really interesting situation because no coach ever wants to just settle for a tie, but that's all they needed. And I was really hoping they would get that first down. To watch them take 3 knees to take a tie, I thought it would have just been the funniest visual ever. But right now, really fascinating situation because the Broncos need a win next week to go to the playoffs. And I think they're going to do it against the Chiefs' backup. So we'll see who plays for the Chiefs, who doesn't. But it looks like most of their starters will not be playing, which I think is very fortunate for the Broncos. If they don't win, we got the Dolphins looming and then the Bengals. So we'll set up for an interesting Week 18. Number 3. The Colts were absolutely shameful today. They lost to the Giants in New York in an absolutely terrible game. They could not stop Malik Neighbors. They gave up 309 yards and 5 total touchdowns to Drew Lock, who we know is not very good at playing quarterback in the NFL. And this is such a disappointing win because you had the Broncos lose. They were first in line if they could have just beaten the Giants and Jaguars to make the playoffs, and they went out and laid an absolute egg. A team that can't score against anyone, who's actively trying to lose to get Shedeur Sanders, and just to put up that many yards and that many points against them is absolutely embarrassing. I think the Colts should be ashamed of themselves, and that was just a really pathetic performance today in New York. And number 4, the Chiefs. This is going back to Wednesday, which feels like a month ago, but I feel like I've said this 3 times, 3 weeks in a row now. I felt like that was the Chiefs' best game. They absolutely beat down the Steelers 29-10. The game did not even feel that close to me, and I thought it was Patrick Mahomes' best game. He had 335 total yards and 3 touchdowns, but it sets up a very interesting situation. Because the game was on Wednesday, and now they have the 1 seed block already secured, they are going to have their starters go 24 days in between games, which to me seems like a really long time. That's over 3 full weeks without a meaningful snap for a lot of their starters. And for a team that it seems like they're playing their best football right now, that seems like a really long time to me. So that sets up, I think it's a really interesting situation. I think it's obviously the right move to rest their starters, especially Kelsey, Mahomes, and some of those folks. But it does really set up for a very interesting first round of the playoffs, not playing a meaningful game of football in 24 days. So next week, we got an enormous one between the Vikings and Lions. I can't wait for that one, and we'll talk to everyone this week.